Hello. It's 50 degrees in Memphis. I know I'm sitting outside. I could change the scenery. Um, I'm glad that that Keystone pipeline was vetoed. Um, it would be nice that if we could um, maybe find a way for them to make money off alternative energy such as wind and solar. I guess you would just have to put a meter on it. I think there's other ways. I think like with Tesla, we're drawing electricity out of but anyway, probably probably use a lot of gold, a lot of materials. But anyway, and I think they go a lot with the radio waves. But anyway, but in some of these developing places in Africa, and I don't know why they don't. I know they have a lot of sun. I know solar panels could get busted or broke, but you know, wind, utilize I don't know, animal manure. You know, there's a way of separating the solids from the liquids and collecting the gas and whatnot. But I mean, just release away from nuclear. And the reason with coal so much is that we're deteriorating our forests so much. But I'm glad I didn't do that, because there's a lot of, with the Keystone pipeline, the biggest thing is probably ground spills and getting into our water supplies, which we're in a lot of trouble with Detroit, being bankrupt. And I guess its politics has been towards punish the citizens for their ignorance and their the Detroit comes off when I very very racist in their politics, but you can see what happened to Detroit. But I guess they had cut off all the public water, but the places like the stadiums and the golf course that still owes millions of dollars, they keep their water on. We have a drought in California, water drought. They're now saying they're pulling water out, water out of the ground, and there's just so much there. We pollute so bad, especially here, this place. And like yesterday, Steve Coleman had a town meeting on the phone, and I was listening to some of the things that people are talking about, and there's a lot of things that people are asking him to do that, is really, you'd be dependent on somebody else to, make a law, fit through or do all the legwork for you. But I mentioned something about First Lady of Michelle Obama, health incentive on exercising and eating healthy. Over here in Memphis, especially in Ford Elementary School, they have so much ground. They can plant apples, pear trees. They can plant coal. He's like, oh well, these kids don't eat apples. I know, if you get your first apples from McDonald's and they're already sliced in a little bag, you're not gonna eat them. But I mean, I have never heard of I don't know. Growing up, when I was growing up, I ain't never heard of not eating veggies and stuff like that. And cause that's one thing. I always found kids, and when I was a child, I liked playing in the dirt and growing stuff, and such a learning curve in such a poor area. If they could get a grip on how to grow some of their own food, and they could not only they could bring that home. It's something they could do, even as a little child. Maybe have a tomato, cucumbers, or something like that. And it just opened up a learning thing. And with the obesity and the diabetes that we have rampant here, and there's some things that we have to understand. It is our diet with diabetes, is our behavior. With the cocaine and crack epidemic, a lot of people didn't eat regularly, ate sporadically. That is one way that you could have the onset of the diabetes, is poor eating habits. Then your metabolism gets off balance. And then when you do eat, you're eating poor food, like Roman noodles or something, which I don't eat. I think they're nasty. I can make some a little better. And also, a lot of our diet is high in sugar, milk, sodas, a lot of our diet, and then we don't exercise anymore. We are in the cars, going to and fro. Children are more out to play video games in the house, be on the computer. They do play a few games, but like I don't see it as active. I don't see people like the kids out here they'll play basketball, and then the beginning of basketball season they'll be out there a little bit. In the beginning of football season they'll be out there a little bit, but nothing. I don't see the parents out there. Like I remember softball, parents be playing too, and everybody had a good time, but so they're not getting as much exercises as they should. The food, I don't know, kids will get as young as they are, like in elementary school, as young as these kids are. I'm a strong believer that they will like what you put in front of them. They will get used to it. If they're just used to eating potato chips and drinking Kool-Aid or something, then like when you give them water without the food dye and the sugar, they're looking at you like you're crazy. But if they got accustomed to just drinking water, the Kool-Aid and the sugar might not be to their liking there either. Plus you have to think about the different dyes and the stuff that red dye number 40 used to be said to cause cancer. But anyway, so lack of exercise, poor diet, that we have a epidemic of diabetes, and obesity. I see, like me personally, I don't have a butt. I'm not really jealous or anything, but the only thing I see the difference between me and people with big butts and people like me that don't have any is like we're walking. They're driving, they're going everywhere, they don't get up. When I was teaching one time, and I always used to wear skirts, and because my skirts had deep pockets, and you couldn't have a pocketbook. Even in elementary school. But anyway, and I moved, I got up, and they're like, oh my God, Miss Sinclair, you flew. And their mom just sits there on the couch and yells and yells and yells, and eventually when she gets up, she's going to beat them or knock them out, and not like to stop something before it gets started, like a misunderstanding, or jumping, in the middle of them trying to figure out a problem or something, because they're just not used to somebody being that attentive and making sure that they get the information and that they get it I guess one friend kept saying, oh, you're making sure they're safe, but I was more like, so I can have, as long as they're busy doing their work and they're learning, they'll stay busy. But the moment they're bored or something, they start hitting each other, because in the South that's what they do. They hit, just like the parents hit them. But anyway, I mentioned that to Steve Coleman about maybe getting grants or some of the money that they have for this healthy eating programs that they have going, where the kids are participating in the growing and the eating and subsidizing actually some of their lunch. So, and the money that they save was supposed to go back into schools, but they have a way. They might not have a way to deter some of the money, so they might not want to do it. But he just seemed like he just brushed it off, like that's the last thing we'll do. I'll talk to so and so about it. But like I was thinking then, really it's not, like their agenda. They want to talk about certain issues, and a lot of the voters, like, they're right up on those issues and everything. But the thing to me, like a lot of those issues, they're depending on Steve Coleman to go out there and do it. But a small thing like taking care of your diet, getting a little exercise, growing on plants, that's something I could see that we could do as an initiative. I don't really see it really costing any more money than it does to keep kids on insulin. But anyway, it's a nice 50-degree weather for November. So anyway, so I myself I try to eat healthy. I mean, I can eat anything I want really. Like like for my height, I'm like they say the right weight and everything. 133 the last time I was there. Time before I was like 139, so I fluctuate right around there, which they're like. So I want to put on a little bit of fat on me, because I don't know. I mean, nothing major, about 5 or 7 more pounds, So anyway, it's the holiday, so I'm thinking of a little bit more cakes, cookies, or something. But anyway, so I'm gonna just sit here and listen to some music the rest of this afternoon. Have a good afternoon. Eat healthy.